So today we're looking at the translation of a book written by one of the founders of modern karate. Hi guys, my name is Joe and welcome to Fighting Words, the martial arts library. On this channel I review martial arts books and talk about other martial arts related subjects. The subject for today's review is Karate Kempo, The Art of Self-Defense, originally published in 1934. The author of that is Kenwa Mabuni. The translation was published in 2002. The translator was Mario McKenna. Kenwa Mabuni, or Mabuni Kenwa, is best known as the founder of the Shito-Ryu style of karate. He did a great deal to collect the kata from several different systems as a way of sort of preserving them. This book indicates that he originally studied goju-ryu karate because that's what he's trying to promote in this book. Although again, he would eventually study other karate styles and create a style that has literally dozens of different kata in them, including multiple versions of the same kata. As far as Mr. McKenna goes, unfortunately I haven't been able to find out a whole lot about him. He appears to be a longtime karate practitioner and has done a great deal towards translating many classical karate texts that were originally published in Japanese in the early part of the 20th century. Now, what's very interesting about this book is that it reads as sort of a sales pitch or an endorsement of karate. Karate was sort of new to the Japanese mainland. We get, throughout the book, multiple instances of, not just Mabuni himself, but other authors, such as Kunishi Yasuhiro and Soko Yamaga, discussing things like how to be good citizens and how karate is meant for personal development, and if you just see people breaking boards, well, that's not really what karate is about. In fact, the first few chapters really emphasize the good behavior and health benefits of karate. The first physical thing we get into are actually some very basic calisthenic exercises for the legs, lower back, and neck. And some of these are more what we would consider mobility exercises more than anything else. After that, we get into the physical techniques, things like how to make a fist, various types of punches, as well as kicks and elbow strikes are shown. There's a brief mention of palm strikes as well. And then we get into sections on the stances. And these are sort of what one would expect. We get things like the cat stance, the attention stance. He also briefly goes over body shifting, in other words, shifting one's weight. And then we get another brief section on calisthenics, this time using equipment, including the chi-shi, which is similar to what today would be considered a club bell. You have a handle with a weight on the far end of it, and that's something that can greatly increase grip strength. Finally, we get into kata sanchin, which is a fundamental kata for those in like goju-ryu and uechi-ryu systems. And this is a form that is very much about body structure as opposed to a set of self-defense techniques. There's a lot of dynamic tension used throughout this kata. And he will illustrate it to an extent, as well as describing it. Then we get a second kata, seonchin, which is more of a fighting kata. And this is one of the classical kata of goju-ryu. As a bit of a bonus, there are foot diagrams shown here as far as the footwork pattern goes. The downside is, if you can't read Japanese, it's going to be really hard to understand. After the author describes and illustrates seonchin, then we get a series of applications where two people are being shown. One is the attacker, the other is the defender. Some of these are more realistic than others. It's interesting to me how Some of the moves change from the kata to the application. For instance, in the opening, there's a low finger thrust, spear hand, attack to the body. When he's showing it in application, that turns into a thrust with a fist as opposed to the fingers. As I said, some of the applications don't appear to be as realistic. There's one where the guy kicks and you grab his foot. Okay, then as he's balancing on one foot, he tries to punch your face. That's why we're doing this sequence here. Like, why wouldn't you just dump him after you catch his foot? I don't know. Parts of that don't make a whole lot of sense to me. But here we are. It is karate application. Some of it isn't going to make a lot of sense, unfortunately. Toward the end of it, we also get more stuff on behavior. The advice to students is, having good posture and good hygiene and don't be boastful. And overall, it just seems very clear that this was meant to give karate a positive image as opposed to primarily pass along a fighting system. As far as pros go, I'd say the biggest one that stands out to me is that if you are looking to put karate in the context of Imperial Japan, because again, it was originally published in 1934, I think that this is a good example of someone from Okinawa who wanted karate to have a good image in Japan, in the mainland. And we can sort of see with his descriptions and the other authors chiming in on, like, you should have good behavior, this isn't about fighting, and people who boast about their skills are not actually that skilled. There's a lot of that stuff going on. So again, historically, putting this into context of Japan, karate in Japan in the 1930s, I think it's very valuable for that. As far as an instructional goes, I don't think that it's particularly great. Now, again, we have the hindsight of history. We've got almost 100 years of, book production since then. He's using illustrations. I think those help, but some things are described instead of illustrating. By the 60s, we could take multiple photographs of the same sequence. So we're missing a bit of that we could see today. And also for instructional purposes, there's what I would consider to be a lot of superfluous writing. So again, all these admonitions to, be on your best behavior. I can be a good person without studying karate. I don't need karate to teach me how to be nice. So to me, stuff like that seems a little out of place. Okay, as far as recommendations go, I bought this because I am a fan of karate history and the development of it from Okinawa into the modern age. So I bought it because a founder of one of the major styles of karate wrote it, and because it was written for a Japanese audience in the 1930s. So to me, again, I think that's where its biggest value lies, is that it's more putting things into historical context. So to me, that's its greatest value. If you happen to have a background in goju-ryu, if you happen to have a background in Shito-Ryu, and you want something that relates to those things, that was written very early on in the development of those arts, then I think this might be a nice book to pick up as well. Okay, that's all I have for this week. Thank you guys for following me. If you would like to sponsor a review, please consider donating to my Ko-fi account. There will be a link to that in the description. If you'd like more videos of this, please feel free to subscribe to my channel. It would also really help me out if you would like the video and share it with anyone you think would be interested in this topic. Again, that's all I have. Thank you for following along, and I'll see you later.